Welcome to the Mundus Fractura Law Guide. This week on Law Guide, we will take a look at the goodly antithesis to Law Guide 49, entitled Mundus Malevolent. Let's look at some of the goodly peoples, entities, and organizations which are constantly striving to better the world. Let's have a look at Mundus Benevolent. As we did in our overview of the Malevolent, let's start things off with some of the currently unknown individual shining beacons of goodness and hope on Mundus Fractura. Them of the Wild, often simply known as Wordkeeper, this human divine caster roams the wild places of the planet. Wordkeeper has been encountered in nearly every biome on the planet, said to be a glabrous or hairless human of indeterminate age, clad in simplest brown sackcloth robes, veiled and never without a giant porcupine quill, which is used as a staff and spear. Them of the Wild strives tirelessly to keep the balance of the natural world, risking life and limb, to preserve and protect the creatures, fungal and plant life of the planet. Jarl Alfhild, of the Floy, Jarldoms. This gregarious, charismatic human woman in her late 80s is not an individual to be taken lightly. It is said that she rose to prominence on her first great hunt at the age of only 16. The then peasant girl broke with the traditions of her clan. In place of returning from her first solo hunt with a deer, as was the expectation, she instead returned riding a great white stag known as Terrorin, or the Terror, a giant carnivorous mutated elk who had long terrorized the lands of northwestern Floy. Alfhild, atop Terrorin, spent her youth as a renowned hunter of the most mythical monsters of the Jarldoms. In her later years, she gained renown and title of Grand Defender of the Gulf, having crushed several insurrection attempts by the nations of Osterlund. She now governs with distinction and a noted even hand as Jarl Alfhild in the lands of her birth in the northwest region of the Gulf. The Gourmand of Residuum, known by no other name. This kobold is widely known and loved in the grand city of Residuum by the local homeless and destitute. Through little understood means, the Gourmand does what he can to feed the downtrodden of the city and the surrounding mine zone protectorate. The kobold is somehow able to steal and stockpile vast amounts of food resources and redistributes them as he can to those most in need. The gourmand gains his moniker from the opulent menu items he steals and redistributes, items that isolate his pilfery to only the most affluent of Residuum society. To date, countless sting operations and dragnets have been launched to catch the gourmand, with no success. Nor have the city guard been able to locate any of the, what must be, massive stockpiles of stolen food, spices, and fine beverages. Vaktmadurin, or the Watchman in the common tongue, is thought to be a middle-aged elven scion and some kind of divine conduit. Vaktmadurin seems to spend his waking hours scouring the planet with his mind seeking out the unjustly injured, suffering and dying goodly sentience of the planet. When the Watchman finds a soul in need of assistance, he reaches out through the divine weave to find a divine patron who would lend assistance. Next to nothing is known of Vaktmadurin, and his motivations for such altruism are entirely unclear. Those who have been saved all relate the same experience. A kind, deep, masculine elven voice speaking in the ancient elven language, stating, "Help is on the way." There are many groups, guilds, associations, and clubs on Mundus that are considered to be good. Some, like our first example, are truly at their core, good and well-meaning. But as is often the case, one person's savior is another's demon, the anathema tribunal. This planet-wide consortium of adventurers is wholly dedicated to scouring the planet for evil, aligned magical and psionic items, eliminating them all without exception, implacably, unfalteringly, and by any means necessary. Though in the scope of the greater good, this group is truly of benefit. There are many who oppose the lengths to which the anathema tribunal will go in order to eradicate their quarry. The Pact of the Pyre. This loose association of independent warriors have taken it upon themselves to eradicate the scourge of O'Dowdir, undeath, from the planet. Though most of the Pyre's members limit their actions to the elimination of evil-aligned O'Dowdir, both corporeal and incorporeal. Some of the more fanatical devotees fervently disagree with this soft touch. War angels. In the thick fog on the field of battle, they skulk. In the dirt turned mud by the blood of the fallen, they search. In the rot and wretch of the putrescent miasma, they toil. This is the life of a war angel. Though scattered and few, this small global network of scions who descend upon the most recent battlefields of Mundus, drawn and compelled by the unseen will of the still-living relatives of the downed combatants to know the fate of the fallen. A war angel will scour battlefields for keepsakes and trinkets of the deceased. From the remains, they gain impressions of those lost and return items of great sentiment to their families, regardless of affiliation. It is said that once the calling to become a war angel is realized, that such individuals no longer require food, nor drink, nor sleep to survive, that the psychic energy created by the mending and solace imparted by the return of keepsakes to loved ones is how these scions now maintain their existence. And we come to the last group we will examine this episode, the palliative. This unique group should not be confused with the Kasgur Enaid from episode 63 of Lore Guide. The palliative are a group of craftspeople based mostly in the Norderland of Mundus. The palliative seek out individuals who are suffering from chronic physical or mental anguish and terminal illness and provide those individuals with the opportunity to painlessly end their current existence and donate their life essence to the fabrication of a new magical or psionic item. The palliative never attempt to coerce, and the decisions to not participate are always respected. That is all for this time. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for future lore guides, and thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.